That winter night in 1945, an entire room vanished without a trace, and no one knew where it had gone. The Amber Room had been the pride of Russian royalty for over 2 centuries. Its walls gleamed with 6 tons of amber panels, backed with gold leaf and mirrors that multiplied the warm, honey-colored light into infinity. Those who had seen it called it the 8th wonder of the world. But on that cold January evening, as Soviet troops advanced toward the German city of Königsberg, the room's fate hung in the balance like a whisper in the dark. The story began long before the war, in a time when kings and emperors exchanged gifts that could reshape the world. In 1716, the Prussian king Friedrich Wilhelm I presented the amber panels to Tsar Peter the Great of Russia, sealing an alliance between 2 great powers. The gift traveled across frozen lands packed in 18 large boxes, each one a treasure in itself. When the panels finally arrived at the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg, Italian craftsmen spent years installing them, transforming a modest chamber into a glowing masterpiece. Imagine standing in that room on a quiet afternoon, sunlight streaming through tall windows. The amber walls seemed to breathe with life, their surfaces capturing every flicker of candlelight, every shadow that passed. The panels depicted intricate mosaics, scenes of nature and mythology, all carved from fossilized tree resin that had waited millions of years to become art. Visitors would stand speechless, watching how the room changed with the light. Golden at dawn, deep orange at sunset, mysterious and dreamlike by moonlight. For decades, the Amber Room remained untouched in the Catherine Palace, a symbol of imperial grandeur and artistic achievement. Tsars and Tsarinas held court there, their voices echoing off the luminous walls. But history has a way of disrupting even the most beautiful dreams. When Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in June 1941, the curators at Catherine Palace faced an impossible task. How could they protect something so fragile, so irreplaceable? They tried to dismantle the amber panels, but the resin had become brittle with age. Pieces crumbled at the slightest touch. In desperation, they covered the walls with wallpaper, hoping to hide the treasure from the advancing German army. It didn't work. German forces reached the palace in September 1941, and among them were soldiers who knew exactly what they were looking for. Within 36 hours, a team of experts had carefully dismantled the entire Amber Room, packing the panels into 27 crates. The room that had taken years to install was stripped bare in less than 2 days. The amber was loaded onto trains and sent west to Königsberg, the capital of East Prussia, now the Russian city of Kaliningrad. But what happened next remains one of history's deepest mysteries. The panels were reassembled in Königsberg Castle, displayed in a museum for German officers and dignitaries to admire. For 3 years, the Amber Room existed in this strange exile, far from its rightful home, a trophy of war gleaming in occupied territory. Then, in late 1944, as Allied bombing intensified and Soviet forces drew closer, the director of the museum received orders to prepare the collection for evacuation. Some say the amber was packed into crates again, others claim it was hidden in the castle's underground passages. There are whispers of a secret train that left the city under cover of darkness, its cargo unknown. And then, in those final chaotic weeks of winter 1945, as British bombers reduced much of Königsberg to rubble and Soviet artillery pounded the city walls, the Amber Room simply disappeared. Imagine the scene that April evening as fires raged through the old castle. Smoke billowed into the night sky, and the air filled with the sound of collapsing walls and shattering stone. Somewhere in that inferno, perhaps, the amber panels burned, their ancient resin melting, their golden light extinguished forever. Or perhaps they had already been moved, smuggled away to some hidden location, waiting in darkness for a day that never came. In the years after the war, the Soviet government launched extensive searches for the missing treasure. Teams of investigators interviewed German officers, examined archives, and excavated sites across what had become East Germany. They followed every lead, every rumor. Some said the amber was buried in underground bunkers near the Baltic coast. Others believed it had been loaded onto a ship that sank in the icy waters. There were tales of secret Nazi hideouts in remote forests, of treasure hunters who had come close to finding it but met mysterious ends. One story spoke of a German soldier who had smuggled out a single amber panel as the castle burned. He kept it hidden for decades, afraid to reveal what he possessed. When he finally came forward in the 1990s, experts examined the fragment. It was genuine, a piece of the lost room. But the soldier could offer no clues about where the rest might be. He had only that one panel, a fragment of a vanished dream. The mystery deepened with each passing year. Was the amber room destroyed in the bombing of Königsberg, reduced to ash and memory? Or does it still exist somewhere, hidden in a forgotten bunker, sealed in an abandoned mine, waiting in the darkness? The questions multiplied, but answers remained elusive, like shadows slipping away at dawn. In 1979, the Soviet government made a decision. If the original amber room could not be found, they would recreate it. Russian craftsmen began the painstaking work of carving new panels from amber, following old photographs and descriptions. The project took 24 years and cost millions of dollars. Each panel was crafted with meticulous care, each detail reproduced as faithfully as possible. In 2003, on the 300th anniversary of St. Petersburg's founding, the recreated amber room was unveiled at Catherine Palace. Visitors come from around the world to see it now, to stand in the golden glow and imagine the original room that vanished all those years ago. The new panels are beautiful, technically perfect, but something intangible is missing, the weight of history perhaps, or the knowledge that these particular pieces of amber once witnessed the conversations of tsars, the footsteps of empires rising and falling. Yet the search for the original amber room has never truly ended. Even now, treasure hunters and historians pursue new leads. In 2017, divers exploring a shipwreck in the Baltic Sea discovered crates that some believed might contain the amber panels. The crates were empty. In 2020, researchers used ground-penetrating radar to scan beneath an old Nazi bunker in Poland, convinced they had found a hidden chamber. They found only dirt and stones. Each disappointment adds another layer to the legend. The amber room has become more than a lost treasure. It's a symbol of beauty destroyed by war, of the fragility of human creation, of mysteries that time refuses to solve. Somewhere perhaps in a forgotten corner of Europe, the panels still exist, their amber surfaces dulled by decades of darkness, waiting for someone to discover them. Or perhaps they burned long ago, their light extinguished in the chaos of war, leaving only stories and memories. Think of those who have spent their lives searching, following clues across continents, digging through archives and ruins. What drives them? Is it the value of the amber, worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Or is it something deeper, the need to solve a puzzle, to restore what was lost, to prove that even in the darkest times, beauty can be recovered? The night deepens around these questions and no answers come. The amber room remains lost, a ghost haunting the pages of history books and the dreams of treasure hunters. Its story is one of magnificence and loss, of art destroyed and art reborn, of mysteries that persist because sometimes the world prefers its secrets to remain hidden. As you drift towards sleep tonight, imagine the amber room as it once was, walls glowing with warm light, mirrors reflecting infinity, the air filled with the faint scent of ancient resin. Picture those panels somewhere in darkness now, waiting, dreaming their own dreams of being found. Or perhaps they exist only in memory, in the stories we tell, in the photographs that captured their beauty before war swept it all away.
The search continues, though those who began it have long since passed. New generations take up the quest, armed with modern technology and old hope. They scan the earth, they dive into cold seas, they pore over documents in forgotten archives. And maybe one day, someone will open a door, or lift a lid, or brush away centuries of dust, and there it will be the Amber Room, waiting patiently in the dark, ready to glow once more. But until that day comes, if it ever does, the room exists in that space between history and legend, between what was and what might still be. It lives in our imagination now, perfect and untouchable, more beautiful perhaps than it ever was in reality, because lost things always acquire a certain magic. The fire that may have consumed it has long since burned out. The soldiers who dismantled it have all departed this world. The castle where it last stood has been rebuilt, transformed, made new. But somewhere in the collective memory of humanity, the Amber Room still glows, its honey-colored light eternal, its mystery unsolved. And so the night wraps around this story like a blanket, soft and dark. The questions remain, floating like dust motes in the amber light of memory. Where is the Amber Room? What happened on those final days in Königsberg? Will we ever know the truth? Perhaps these are questions that need no answers. Perhaps the beauty of the story lies precisely in its incompleteness, in the space it leaves for wonder and imagination. As you close your eyes tonight, let the image of that glowing room drift through your thoughts, not lost, not destroyed, but simply waiting, somewhere beyond the reach of time, in a place where all beautiful things go when the world is too harsh to hold them.